Hey everybody, I'm gonna get right to it. No script or nothing like that. I might not even code switch on this video because I'm kind of emotional and this is just ridiculous what has been happening these past few days. You checked out these headlines right here. I'm sure you've seen them. You got a child going to a wrong house. You got young people going up the wrong driveway, resulting in one case anyway, in a fatality. And this is absolutely ridiculous. This is what I was talking about in my response to my video. So I made a video response to a comment on one of my videos about going to drop off someone's deliveries and then having this nosy neighbor come out. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that we are dealing with out here in these deliveries. You have these people just unhinged, people who hair triggered, I guess you can say, at the least provocation, and they are shooting people. They're not asking questions. They're shooting first and not even asking questions later. This is the kind of stuff that we're having to deal with. So this is why I don't go out at night. When I was doing Lyft, that was already, teetering on dangerous as it is having strangers in your car. And now that I'm doing Spark, I am out here and, you're going to these remote areas, these rural areas. So I'm actually outside of the Walmart that is closing on Thursday. So I went in just to see, what they have left. And there's just a few items and it's 90% off. So, I got like poncho and some reusable bags. But anyway, this store right here was one of the main stores for me, for the Indiana anyway, that would send me to these like backwoods houses up in Michigan. And I did not like it. Some of those areas, the cell reception was spotty. Some of the areas you could not find the homes the way these houses were set up. It is like a rural area. The addresses weren't properly labeled. The houses weren't properly labeled. The GPS wasn't sending you to the correct house. There was all that craziness going on. And this is during the daytime. So I'm already, mindful of the potential dangers of being out in a rural area like that. So I cut down, I limited my, pickups, my orders, I guess. I can't even get the words. I limited my orders from this particular store. And then there's one in Niles, Michigan. So you're like guaranteed to have to be going up, in some of these rural areas. So, we'll see how this plays out once I really start getting back into making deliveries. I have some family issues that I'm dealing with, so I'm not able to get out as much. But I'm trying to stick to, my one store. And now that I see, especially now that this store is basically out of the loop, I don't know how they're going to divvy up these Walmart deliveries. I did get a couple from my usual store that brought me back out this way, but it didn't go into Michigan. So it looks like I am going, especially on the round robin orders, you get like a minute and 45 seconds or whatever to look at the order. I'm gonna have to be mindful that I'm checking these addresses and making sure that I am not going into these crazy rural areas because it's just not worth it. So I'm gonna show you a clip. So so you saw the one where the young man went to the guy's house, rang the doorbell.
Authorities in Kansas City speaking just moments ago after the shooting of a 16-year-old black teen who rang the doorbell at the wrong home looking to pick up his siblings. Prosecutors in Clay County just now announcing charges against the 85-year-old man who shot him.
And so I'm going to show you just a small clip from the news story, Fair Use, of the young lady who went to the wrong house. So apparently there's a little bit more. It wasn't just her. It sounds like there were 3 cars involved. So here's a little bit from her story.
Of a 20-year-old woman who was in a car that drove into the wrong driveway. The assailant is due in court this afternoon, and Ariel Reshef is here with the latest. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, Robin. This happened in a remote area, and the sheriff says cell service is spotty, making it very hard to navigate. Once Monahan opened fire, striking Gillis in the front passenger seat, her friends had to drive for miles to get reception for help.
This morning, shock and disbelief as a community mourns 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis, shot to death after the car she was in with her 3 friends turned into the wrong driveway.
Reporting 20-year-old female shot in the neck. They're unsure of their location.
Authorities say Gillis was a passenger in that car Saturday night. The group looking for another friend's house in a rural area 60 miles northeast of Albany, New York, when they mistakenly pulled into 65-year-old Kevin Monahan's driveway.
The car that the victim was in was with another car and a motorcycle, and they were traveling together. They were looking for a house on the same road Mr. Monahan lived in. They went to his house in error.
Police say the friends never got out of the car, but Monahan opened fire from his porch, striking Gillis. The area so remote, they had to drive to a neighboring town 6 miles away to call for help.
They realized their mistake. They had turned around, were heading down a driveway. Obviously no threat if they're driving away.
Gillis dying from a single gunshot wound. The sheriff says after refusing to come outside for over an hour, Monahan was arrested. He's now charged with second-degree murder.
With 3.
Okay, so you see when you're in these areas, you don't have proper cell phone coverage, and they went to the wrong house. They discovered that it wasn't the right house, and they were leaving. How many times have you done that? I can't even count how many times I have gone to the wrong driveway because of the way this GPS is set up. So it's like, I'm bordering on paranoia, trying to make sure that the address that is in the GPS matches the address for the person's house, because of stuff like this. It's just not worth it, and I actually put in for Spark. I went ahead and submitted a suggestion or a complaint about that GPS, because hopefully everyone can see now, and it wasn't just me, Chicken Little or whatever. It's dangerous. It's dangerous out here to be going to these wrong addresses. There was one that I went to. It wasn't even a rural area, just a regular, neighborhood. And I was backing into the person's driveway, and like, oh, this isn't right. This address isn't right. It just, I guess it was maybe, the spirit speaking to me, but I was like, this isn't right. So I was pulling out of the driveway, and this guy comes out to the porch, and I'm like, so I pull off, I just signal, sorry about that. And I'm, I drove away to go to the correct address. So that was one incident. There was another incident where I was out in Michigan, and the way the houses were set up, it was just really crazy. I didn't know where the actual driveway to the person's house was. The GPS was taking me into someone else's yard, but the house was, to the side. It was just a crazy arrangement. So I went back and forth like 5 times trying to find how to get to this person's house. But the first house that I pulled into, they have like the long driveway, and then it's almost like a little circle area, and then you come back. So I'm coming up, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. This GPS isn't right. And this big burly dog comes out on the porch. So I never did get out of the car or anything, but I'm like, this isn't the right house. This isn't where the map is showing. So I ended up, just pulling out. No incident, praise the Lord. Pulled out, no incident. So I'm just like kind of going back and forth within this like half-mile section trying to find the entrance to this person's house. But just stuff like that. And then even when I went in there, Excuse me, I'm getting a little excited. My throat's getting raw. But, you know, even when I went in there, the house didn't even have the addresses, the actual numbers on the house. It wasn't on a post out front. It wasn't on a mailbox. I'm like, this is just absolutely ridiculous. I think that these apps, and maybe this is something that I'm going to put in there, these apps, maybe they have to photograph some kind, I don't know, some kind of way. These houses must have their house numbered. It's just too crazy out here in these delivery streets, just out here, period, to be coming up to the wrong houses. So that is something that I'm gonna go ahead and make a suggestion to the Spark app on that. Now Spark, I can't say, has been pretty responsive, and I've noticed even just in these few months, I haven't even been doing this a year, but they have been increasing and improving the app quite frequently. So I can't say that they are, you know, responsive. So I think that is something that I am going to be suggesting, that when you if you want somebody to be delivering something to your house, I don't care if you rent it or not, that house has to be addressed. There has to be numbers visible from the street so that you can see that this is the correct house. I have seen houses where, you know, you can't, there's no numbers, and then you get up to the front door and there's this little plaque on the ground by their garage, or, you know, off to the side. I'm like, this is unacceptable. This is, and right then, you know, there's the option of, as soon as you make the delivery, there's an option to like do thumbs up or thumbs down, and then you make your complaint or whatever, your notation, and then submit it. The thing about that is you would have to sit there in front of that person's house while you're doing all this notations or whatever, and then click done before you can move on to the next address. So I guess I have to troubleshoot on how to do that. Maybe just, you know, pull off down the street some and then make the notations or whatever. But sometimes I just, you know, I'm just in my mode, in my zone, and I just click, you know, to move on to the next screen. But just in general, I think there needs to be an improvement in the visibility of these house numbers, including at night. I don't drive night, but for the people who drive night, you know, have your porch lights on and have these numbers visible from the street. So yeah, I'm just kind of ranting, you know, that it's just getting crazy out here, the way people are just, you know, shooting. It's just absolutely, I don't even really know what else to say about that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So, you know, out here doing these deliveries, you definitely want to keep your head on a swivel. You definitely want to be mindful of your surroundings. Double check, triple check the address on the GPS from the address that is given on the app, so that you are going to the correct place. Because it's just, you know, for your own personal safety, you have to look out first for yourself. You can't expect anyone else to necessarily, you know, you would hope anyway, but you can't just sit up and expect that, you know, everything is going to be perfectly worked out in favor for your safety. So yeah, that is just my little rant. So yeah, I'm just kind of upset about that, and condolences to the families of the young lady who passed away, and then the young man, he is recovering. It sounds like he is at home. So, you know, all praises to the Most High for that. But yeah, you just whew, it just makes you not even want to get out here and be involved with this kind of stuff. So yeah, just let me know, you know, what your reactions or what your first thoughts were when you heard about all of these, you know, these incidents, these past two incidents, in the comments below. All right, so I am about to get off of here, and I just want to say, you know, be safe out here doing this gig work because it is getting real out here. So yeah, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one.